And also joining us on this Monday edition, our first guest of the day, and it is Matt Britton, the head coach of the Mooney boys soccer team. Coach, thank you so much for hopping on today.
Oh, no, thank you for having me, guys.
Well, you guys had a fantastic season last year, made it all the way to the state finals, 16-3-4 in the regular season. Winning a state championship is the only way you can top it, right?
I mean, that is true. The only thing we could do better is bring home that title at the end of the season.
Talk about some of the returning leaders that you're going to lean on this year.
Because we did lose. That's the one thing we have to replace most from last year's team is the leadership. So we're going to rely heavily. We only have 2 seniors, and we're going to rely heavily on Savo Kazanias. He's a forward for us. He scored a lot of big goals last year. He actually scored a goal that took us to the state final. So, and then under that, we got a couple of juniors, Dante DiGenova and Patrick D'Ambrosio. They've both been starters since freshmen, so they're going to have to really step up.
Talk to me a little bit, Coach, too. People outside of the Mooney community might not know a lot about the soccer team, because a lot of people outside the Mooney community, you hear the word Mooney or you hear the team name Mooney, you immediately think football. Talk to me a little bit about the soccer culture at Mooney, and just a little bit about the team, and as well as why they're worth coming out to see.
All right, with pleasure. As coming with the soccer program, I just came here. This is only my 3rd year. So when I inherited this program, it was broken. I think they'd only won 9 games over the past 4 years. After I took over 2 years later, we won the state championship. But we turned that around by just demanding the best out of everyone at the team at any moment. Whether it was practice, scrimmage, game, I expected 110% from all the members of the program, whether it was myself, the players, my assistant coach. As soon as you showed up to practice or a game, you were demanded to give 110%. It is true. Anytime you hear Mooney, everyone always assumes the football program, but we're actually starting to change that culture a lot more. The success from the school is actually based on the soccer program. So we're pulling kids that weren't soccer players. We're getting them to come out to play soccer now. So it's starting to change the team dynamic. Everyone shows up, gives everything they have. There's nothing more I can ask for.
Well, I'll tell you, when you take it over 3 years ago, and like you said, they were struggling when you took it over, you must have seen something that said you had the pieces to make a really special program right there. I mean, it didn't take you long to take that and go state championship state championship runner-up 2 years later. I mean, did you see the pieces there and just know it just took a culture and a mentality, and that's what had to be installed?
Yes, it definitely just was a change of mentality and to bring a winning culture in. There were the pieces here. That's why I was surprised when I saw that they struggled so much, because historically Mooney is the most, dominant soccer program in this area. So for them to be struggling like that, you knew there's just some tweaks that needed to be made. And, obviously it just goes to the players. There are tremendous players there from when I took over and still even now.
Talk to me a little bit about this upcoming year too. We definitely know, I'm sure you've looked at the schedule as well. Talk to me about some games too. If I have a ticket to some games to see this year, what games do you want me to come see?
Well, the best game to see would be when we play Ottawa Hills, but I don't think you want to drive to Toledo for that one. That would just be a rematch of the state semifinal from last year. That's the most, important game on our schedule. I don't want to say important, but, high profile. You get 2 teams that played for a state semifinal last year, and we get to play in the regular season. That is definitely, one of the games to see. A couple other ones, we play CBCA. We always play CBCA. It's just they're a phenomenal team. They brought in a new coach this year, so we'll be looking forward to see what they have. Some home games, definitely the one to come see would be Boardman. That's a new rivalry for me. Before I came to Mooney, I didn't know Mooney and Boardman were rivals, but I quickly learned that that's a massive game. And then always, you got the Holy War with Ursuline.
There's no way to really quantify strength of schedule in high school athletics, but I don't think anyone would argue that you guys have the toughest schedule in the area, hands down. I mean, talk about what it's like to schedule up and try to make that schedule as tough as possible to get your boys ready for the tournament.
Oh, yeah, definitely the strength of schedule is so crucial, because you look at everyone in soccer makes the playoffs. So why not test yourself during the regular season? It's not like football where, you have to have a certain record. You have to have a certain amount of computer points, whatever it is, to make the playoffs. In soccer, everyone makes it. So why not test yourself against the strongest opponents you can? So that's why we usually do schedule the strongest schedule of anyone in the area. And again, we did it this year, bringing in the likes of Ottawa Hills, CVCA, Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy, Western Reserve Academy, Highland Berlin. And just that prepares us for the tournament, because I think last year we play Highland again. That'll be another good one. And then that's led to our run last year to make the state final, was our strength of schedule. There was no team that we played. You look at it last year, we lost 3 games. 2 of them were to state champions. We lost to Highland, and then we lost to Cincinnati Marymount.
I don't think there's any doubt that a coaching culture is usually the same year in and year out, but maybe a philosophy and a motto changes. And you would think after losing so many seniors, you're dependent on these 2 guys. That might change a little bit. Maybe the philosophy, maybe the motto. What is the coaching motto for the team this year?
The coaching motto for the team this year is we actually adopted a new saying. It was we took it from somewhere. It was nobody cares, work harder. So nobody cares what we did last year. Everyone has to work harder to prove what we can be this year. So that's kind of the mentality we're taking into this season. That's the motto we're going to carry with us, is nobody cares, work harder.
As a soccer guy in the area, how cool is it to see 2 local teams in the regional final, and just a tangible evidence that soccer in Youngstown especially was on the rise. It was growing. We have more and more competitive teams that are making deep tournament runs. That has to be cool just as a coach in the area.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing to see so many local teams making it that far in the playoffs. And, we played South Range in the regional final last year. You can look anywhere else in the state. There's rarely, 2 teams from the same district, same area are playing each other. So to show that we had 3 teams total with the Highland boys. So that's just incredible.
I mean, in 3 years, the success you've done and what you've been able to do turning around the Mooney boys soccer program is tremendous. So I guess the question is, what is Coach Britton's coaching edge then in every matchup?
I don't want to give all the secrets away now, but no, it's just, we don't look for, I don't even know how to say it, to be honest. It's just we take every game 1 game at a time. We look at everything. We look at the details. Every practice leading up to a game, we only focus on that game at hand. We never overlook an opponent, even if we know we have a very strong team coming up the next game. It's always, we're always so focused, detail-oriented on our opponent at hand.
A coach's mindset during a game in soccer is so unique to all the other sports, because you can't really talk. There's no timeouts. You can't talk to your team other than halftime. You just kind of got to go out there and hope that they're well prepared, and hope that they execute the game plan. What's that kind of like, being on the sidelines during a soccer game and really having no control once the clock starts until halftime?
Yeah, no, it is stressful at times, because, like you said, you really don't have any control. You can't pull them off the sideline. But the one thing that's luckily with high school is, we have the unlimited substitutes, so we can, quickly sub a player off, tell them, hey, let's look to do this, let's look to do that, so forth and so on, and then you can quickly sub them back in. But the main thing that I do on the sideline is I am as calm as can be, because, when something goes wrong, the players start acting up, emotions get high. The first person they're going to look at is me, as the head coach. They see me as calm as can be, then that's just going to calm them.
Talk to me too, Coach. I mean, like we said, you're coming in with a very young team, and losing a lot of seniors. It was a very senior-led team last year. Talk to me about some names that we're not mentioning right now on the soccer team that we're going to be talking about a lot at the end of the season.
Well, I mentioned 3 of them earlier. Sava is going to be a forward for us, and then we have Dante and Patrick, who are defenders in the back. But definitely someone to look forward this year is going to be he's a sophomore, Nick Pregobon. He started last year, and we had to change his position because we did lose a lot. Everyone's talking about, oh, you got 6 starters coming back. Yeah, but we lost the entire midfield. So the reason I compare that to my more football minded players, I was like, we lost our entire offensive line. We kept all the skills positions, but we lost our entire offensive line. So we have to be able to navigate through that. So Nick Pregobon coming into the middle is going to be big there. We did land a transfer who came over, Alex LaPlante, but he's only going to be eligible for 8 games. So, and then we have a couple other players, Mason Janis, who's going to fill the role as a midfielder. They're all going to have to step up massively to fill the shoes.
Head coaches get a lot of the limelight. They obviously get the interviews as you're joining us today, but we know that they'd be nothing without the assistants and the people on their staff that help support them. So talk about your assistant coaches, and the coaches that make this program run so well.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I would be nothing without my assistant. I only have one assistant, Michael Morelli, and we've known each other for 15 years now. He was actually my high school coach when I was in high school. So that dynamic goes back that far. He's just someone that I could trust, and just being able to trust an assistant that much is just, it's vital. So I'd give that advice to any head coach. You want an assistant coach, get someone that you can trust, someone that you can trust the answer coming back from them. So it's just like, hey, I want to do this. They just won't tell you, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. They'll look at you and be like, no, what are you thinking? You always want that open communication with an assistant coach. And, I'm blessed to have that.
I'll wrap it up with my final question and my age-old question that I ask every coach. And with you coming into the program 3 years now, what has been your favorite thing about coaching Mooney boys soccer?
Oh, I mean, it's just being with the boys. As a coach, just being with the players, that's what you love. You love to see the improvement that they have. You love to see the work ethic, and I've loved to see the growth of all the members of the team that have been here for the 3 years.
Also, before we let you go, I want to talk about your personal soccer journey and what kind of has brought you to this point in your career where you're coaching, and talk a little bit about what gives you the passion for the sport. Obviously, you got to have a passion for it to put as much time in as you do as a head coach. So talk a little bit about your soccer journey and what gave you the drive for the sport.
I had definitely. I've been a soccer fan for about as long as I can remember. Playing in high school, playing club. I had the chance to go play. I was lucky enough to have the chance to go play D1 soccer. And then, injuries happened, so I stopped playing, and I still had that burning desire to be part of the game. So I thought, what's a better way than to become a coach? So then I started coaching. I started coaching local club, this and that, and then I got my first chance. I took the head coaching job at Maplewood High School. They gave a 23-year-old a chance, so I can't thank them enough for that opportunity. And then it's just grown from there, and now I find myself at Cardinal Mooney.
Talking about that playing career, though, what is this is another question too that I like to ask those coaches. What is one thing that Coach Britton would tell player Britton? Oh, there we go. Okay, what would Matt Britton, the coach, tell Matt Britton, the player?
There's a lot, no, but the most thing would just be focus on what comes next. I used to playing, I had a little bit of a temper. Looking at it now, just, what was I thinking? A little bit of mouth off to the referee, a little bit here and there. Now, Coach Matt would ream into that player.
Before tell us when your season opener is and when fans can circle the opening game of the year.
Our opening game is August 23rd. We play Berea Midpark. We're up in Cleveland, so our first home game is the 26th against Boardman. We actually do have a scrimmage tonight. If people want to come out and sit in the rain, we scrimmage Poland, so that would be a good one.
Man, always sitting in the rain in Northeast Ohio.
Always. I mean, we've already had a scrimmage canceled because of weather.
We're only 10 days away from the home opener, Mooney faithful. Only 10 days away.
We're getting there.
So close. Coach, thank you so much for joining us today. It was great to hear from you. We look forward to covering Mooney boys soccer, of course, all season. And we'll talk to you again real soon. I'm sure we'll talk to you before the season's over.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the invitation.